Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, please hit that like and subscribe button. We have a ton of content coming out for you guys every single day. Certainly don't want to miss a thing. Don't forget to tune in on Thursdays and Tuesdays for our premiere videos with the live chat. Chance to come on in, give us suggestions for videos, any questions you may have, ideas you may have, or just in general BS with us. We always enjoy just sitting there shooting the crap with our fans. So please join us on Thursdays at 6 o'clock. I'm there every single Thursday. Amy is in on most of those as well. And the Tuesdays at 4:30. So far, I have not missed a single one. Work may interfere with that, but I'll always go back and check the logs. All of this is just leading up to our chance to start live streaming, where we'll do our craps tournament with our fans participating. Probably do a patron-only live stream craps tournament as well. Then add in some blackjack, pai gow, baccarat, whatever we can think of, and probably have a continuous craps tournament going at all times. Live stream is going to give us so many options we can do. Shout out to Wes and everybody else that's given us a super chat, super sticker tip on these live chats. It's always appreciated. Just like all of our patrons, we appreciate all those tips and support, and we hope you guys are enjoying those exclusive videos that we're putting out for you guys. Now that we're starting to put out the entire dice class, 2 videos a week, we hope you guys are enjoying it. And otherwise, we're going to go straight into today's video. So for this video is part 3 of my little series on how much you might want to have invested per shooter. When you're playing dice, it's always a good idea to have an idea of 2 things when you're coming up to the table. When you buy in, you should have an idea of how much you want to have at most invested per shooter. Have an idea of how many shooters you want to see at the minimum. Generally, they recommend with any particular strategy that you want at least 8 to 10 shooters worth of budget. So if you buy in for $1,000, you probably want to max out at 100 to 120 per shooter invested into their roll. The second thing that you want to have in mind, how much do you want to win? If you don't have a win point in your head, the chances are very, very good that you're going to walk away a loser. If you don't have a point where you are going to say, okay, I've won enough, this is how much I wanted to win, X amount of dollars, I'm cashing out and I'm going home and I'm going to spend my money on my husband, because you always want to go home and spend your money on your husband or wife. But you should always spend your money on your husband. If you don't have anything like that, then you're going to continue to chase the next roll, the next roll, the next roll, the next roll. I can't tell you how many people I've seen buy in on a $100 buy-in, end up catching their very first roll, first or second roll, they catch the 30-minute roll, and they've got $400 in front of them. Obviously, it could have been a lot more, but they're conservative players. And they keep playing and end up buying back in again in an hour, or end up walking away broke. They made 3 times their buy-in, and it wasn't enough for them. If you don't have an exit strategy, or have an exit point, you're going to end up giving away all your winnings back. So always have those 2 things in mind. So for this one, we're going to look at if you want to invest $150 per shooter. So we'll look at it on $10 and $15 minimum bet tables, because we get to a quarter table and 150 is pretty light. It's really light at that point. So although still doable, and you'll use some of the strategies that you would use on a $15 minimum bet table. So the first one, the most obvious one, is 135 across. 135 across or 130 across, depending. You can't do the 160 across because you're under that. You want to stay under your budget. If you set a budget, stick to your budget. You don't want to invest more than $150 per shooter. So go to 135 across, because all it takes is a single one of these to hit. You can go ahead and get your final point and have them all. You could get your final point, you could have them all, and here's what you could do. You could do a $5 horn bet, horn high bet, whatever, collect $5, and now you have a similar philosophy as you would get with the Iron Cross, where now any roll of the dice is going to pay you money. If it's a 2 or if it's a 3 or an 11, and you have, say, a horn high 12, you're only going to get paid $11, but you're still getting paid money. If it's say a 2, then you get paid $26. If it happens to land on that 12 and you did a horn high 12, you get paid $57. You're still getting paid, even if one of these numbers doesn't hit. If one of these numbers does hit, you're getting paid a minimum of $35. So you're making a $30 profit if you keep your horn bet going. So it doesn't hurt. Do I do it? Not every single roll. To me, horn bets are there just to add a little bit of fun to the game, not to be part of my strategy and bet it every single time, because then it's a money sink. Now, what are you going to do with your 135 across? Well, again, first thing I would recommend is get the missing number. Place the missing number And then from there, pick whichever strategy you most enjoy. If you like the mid-press, then you're going to take your $30 6 or 8 up to 42, then up to 90, or up to 42, then up to 60, then up to 90, then up to, I would do 150, but you could do 120 if you wanted, and then 300 and so on and so forth, or go from 120 to 210 or 150 to 210. There's a lot of different options you can do for a mid-press. 5 and 9, same thing. Go to 35, go to 50, go to 75, go to 125, go to 200, so on and so forth. 4 and 10, pretty easy at that point. I just generally look, if I'm in a mid-press situation, I generally look at just pressing, just doubling my bet. Because the 4 and 10 pay you so well that you're still collecting pretty good. You're collecting basically the same amount that you bet. So you go from 25 to 50 and you're collecting 24 bucks because it was a buy. You go from 50 to 100, you're collecting 48 bucks. You go from 100 to 200, you're collecting 95 bucks. You go from 200 to 400, you're collecting 190. So you're collecting a pretty decent amount and you're doubling your bet every single time. Nothing wrong with that. And you never know what can happen. The whole point behind dice is not to sit there and do this uber grind based on short rolls. If you're playing dice, you're playing to win, you're hoping to find those statistics breaking rolls. You're hoping to find that roll where the same number rolls 3 or 4 times. The way I play the power press method, I'm hoping that it rolls 8 or 9 times. But if you play a mid-press method, if the same number rolls 3 to 4 times, your third or fourth payout is pretty sizable. It's pretty solid for what you're taking back into your rail. Probably enough to see another shooter, if not more. And not even counting that particular payout, but all the payouts prior to that, plus other numbers that are hit, you've almost definitely gotten back your investment plus some. So the mid-press method is definitely a strong method. Now, what if you're one of those Iron Cross diehards? Well, if you're one of those Iron Cross diehards, then look at your $150 budget and figure out what you want to do. Do you want to do 85 inside and then do, say, a $15 field bet or a $20 field bet? Sure, why not? Perhaps, because at this point you're only invested in $85. Now you have $150 per shooter to look at, right? Now at this point you're invested $109. Now you're invested in 119, 149. So you do 42, 42, and 35 with a $30 field bet. You're under your $150 investment per shooter, and you have high enough bets that you're getting paid an okay amount, although this whole back and forth between the field and your numbers, it really eats into what you can make. It takes a lot on the Iron Cross to hit a break-even point. That's why I prefer going all the way across. 64 across, 96 across. Again, you can't do 160 across, but you could certainly do geez, I don't know, you do 128 across including the point. Kind of a pain to set up, but it could be done. You could do 135 across and then your first hit, get your number, as I showed you before. You could do come bets. Now come bets at this point, you're looking at either doing $10 with sizable odds, and let's say you do a 3-point molly and you get these numbers. Or you're 30 invested, you've got 120 left. That means you can do $40 in odds per number, assuming you're allowed to. You may not be allowed to do $40 in odds on a 10. Depends on where you're at. But you could do that if you want to do a 3-point molly system. Or you could do a 2-point molly system and boost up, especially if you're on a $15 minimum bet table. Do 20. Do 20 bucks. See where it travels. Let's say it travels there. You're invested in 40 bucks. You have 110 left to work with. That means you could do 50 in odds each. Then you just sit back and collect your winnings as things hit. And if one of these hits, then you go ahead and place another come bet if you're doing a 2-point molly system. Maybe you want to do a 3-point molly system. Well, drop it down to a $15 flat bet. Drop it down to a $15 flat bet. Now you're invested $45. You've got $105 left to work with. That would be $35 per number, but you want to just keep it simple. do $30 in odds. You're basically doing double odds here. And then you just, again, sit back and watch. Sit back and watch, sit back and wait, see what happens. Hopefully some numbers hit for you and you can get paid. And then last but not least, as we have covered a couple of times, don't comes. The dark side. Nothing wrong with the dark side. Now you can do a 3-point Molly system where you don't want to do lays, so you're going to go $50 per. You're going to go $50 per number. And then let what happen happen. Remember, this is the danger point. So you need to get past this. But once you get past this, the odds favor you. Now, if you don't want to do lays because you don't like getting paid less than even money, it's okay. You just increase your DC. Make it again $50. You get paid $50 when the 7 rolls. Easy money. Now, at $150 budget per shooter, you're actually large enough right there that you could start looking at the direct lay possibilities as well. You could do $144 action. You could lay the 4 and 10 for $70 a piece. You're going to pay $4 in juice. And then just sit there again and just wait. The 7 rolls, you make $70. Well, 66 if you take that juice out that you just had to pay. And I've seen people that their entire strategy is basically just lay the 4 and 10. If it happens to come down, then either they redo it or they wait for the next shooter. You know, and what they're really hoping for is they're hoping for 2 or 3 winner 7s. They're hoping for those come out rolls. It's just 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Those are awesome. Those are where they really start making a whole bunch of money. So I hope you guys find this interesting, enlightening, illuminating, just plain fun. Please email us, guys, with some strategies or things you would like to see us shoot. Only got one over the last couple of weeks. And thank you guys very much for watching. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.